guys, it's Lori, and I am not in LA right now, and I'm not in my sewing room in Sacramento. I am at Meissner today, and I am here with Drew, the store manager of this location in Sacramento. And today he's going to be sharing information with us about sewing machine maintenance and troubleshooting and how to get the best out of our sewing machine. Alright guys, we're going to get into this really soon, but first I want to introduce you to Drew and then allow him to introduce you to Meissner if you are not from Northern California and you have not been here before. So, Drew?
Hello, thank you guys. Very excited to be here today with Lori. My name is Drew. I'm the district store manager here at Meissner's. We have 5 locations throughout Northern California. Here in Sacramento is our largest main store. It's 20,000 square foot of sewing heaven. I've been in the industry for almost 20 years now, have about 14 years of actually working on the machines, grew up in the industry, numerous trainings, parents teaching me, so just kind of born in the industry and love what I do. So glad to be here and help out today.
Now, when you come into Meissner, Drew will not be the one working on your sewing machine, but he is a certified sewing machine technician. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so through the years, multiple brands have you go into, not necessarily a factory, but have trainings throughout the US where you get certified to work on their machines. And then you have beginner, intermediate, advanced trainings, which get you more and more in depth, sometimes taking the machine down to the bare casting and assembling the machine from scratch. Meissner's has been in the business since 1930, and that's where they started, was back with industrial sewing machine repair. And today we have about 5 household technicians that are all certified and 2 or 3 industrial technicians that take care of all of our machines.
Very cool. So if anyone was ever wondering how to become a certified technician, there it is. The reason why I wanted to do this video today is because I know that a lot of people stop sewing because of frustrations with their sewing machine. Something happens, a noise that they don't recognize goes off in their machine, and they look at it and say, oh no, what just happened? I broke it, I'm done, I'm finished. So troubleshooting issues when you don't know what to look for and when you don't know how to go about fixing them, or if you should go about fixing them, unfortunately is a reason why a lot of people stop sewing and they pack up their sewing machine. Have you seen that before?
I absolutely agree with you. Mm-hmm. Sewing should be something that it's a passion. It's something that people love to do. It can even be therapeutic. But frustration, getting frustrated with the machine and going at it and working at it, basically makes you want to step away and not do it anymore. And it really should be a fun, enjoyable experience when you're working on the machine. And hopefully today we can get some of those troubles taken care of.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so I have prepared some questions here that I'm gonna ask right here. And then I also have a question from one of our viewers that I'm gonna throw out there as well. Question number 1. What are some common problems with the sewing machine that can be fixed at home?
In reality, what we see coming in for repair, 50% of almost all sewing machine problems can be solved just by stepping back, completely taking a break, re-thread the machine, start from scratch. Make sure the needle is in the highest position, the take-up lever is in the highest position. If your machine has a button to do so, push the button and let the machine do it, but completely re-thread the machine from scratch, put in a new needle, re-thread the bobbin, and then see what happens at that point. It's so simple, but it can make such a difference.
Question number 2. Does a sewing machine need to be serviced by a professional technician if you're doing the regular maintenance at home?
Yes, there is basic maintenance that can be done. I would recommend referring to your user's manual to see what they recommend. Cleaning out the bobbin area of the machine is going to be one of the easiest things to do and where most of the lint is going to accumulate. And I'll go back at it. Keeping that needle fresh, eliminating needle breakage will help eliminate problems as well. It really depends on how much you are maintaining the machine, how much you're sewing, and also what types of materials that you're working on, depending on how much lint can accumulate in the machine.
All right. Now, with that question, things that can be done at home, I can tell you all that Meissner Sewing Center does have a YouTube page, and you have a video on there with a routine maintenance that can be done. Can you tell us a little bit about that video?
We went into a shoot on how to oil and take apart a certain machine. It was a Bernina brand. And maintenance can greatly vary. Some brands require you to oil the machine. Some you can lubricate some areas to help eliminate noise. Some machines don't want any lubrication done by the consumer whatsoever. So it really depends on the make and model of machine that you own. Again, I would refer to your user's manual or possibly to a local dealer to see the recommendation. So again, it really depends. But cleaning out that bobbin area will be one of the easiest things you can do, and then also lubricating if necessary.
Absolutely. And he mentioned the manual. If you happen to have a machine that doesn't have a manual with it, maybe it was given to you, it wasn't in the box, go online. You can find all manuals as a PDF online. How often then, if it is necessary to take the machine into a technician, even if you're doing routine work at home, how often should someone take their sewing machine in?
As a general rule of thumb, if you're using the machine on a daily or weekly basis, I'm going to recommend about once a year to have the machine serviced. If you're working on things like quilting with batting on the inside or working with flannel, that has a lot more lint that accumulates in the machine much quicker, so you would need to be more frequently cleaning it out. If you're an occasional sewer ever so often, it's still good every couple years to bring it in for service. Sewing machine oil will actually start to evaporate over time. The more you use the machine, the more the lubricant actually works its way into the different small joints. So even if you were going to go on a spell for a couple months, take the sewing machine out and just do a couple decorative stitches, get the machine going, and that'll help keep that oil working inside the machine.
That's a good point, because I do know a few, even some people who have taken sewing lessons with me, they'll tell me, I haven't touched this machine in 15 years. It's been in the garage, it's been in the box. So in that case, even if they haven't used it in a long time, it's a good idea for them to take it in because, like you said, of the oil.
It certainly, would be a bad idea to test the machine, but if it has been sitting for something 5, 10, 15 years, it wouldn't be a bad idea. That way you've got the machine in good working order so you can sit down and start sewing.
Right. All right, Drew. So this is a question that actually caused me to make a whole video on this, and I wanted to ask this question to a professional on camera. What are some of the reasons why the upper thread will not connect to the bobbin thread?
So there's a couple scenarios on why the stitch or the threads would not connect. Does nothing connect, where the needle goes down and comes up and we have nothing? Does the needle go down and come up and have a really bad looking stitch on the bottom side? Would you like me to explain timing of a sewing machine and what that means?
Sure.
So what happens on a sewing machine is the needle goes through the material and raises up 2.5 millimeters. And at that point, the hook, which rotates around the bobbin, catches a loop that is made behind the needle. Then the loop is made and the take-up lever pulls that loop up. If the machine got jammed, it could have gotten knocked out of timing, where the relationship of the needle going down and the hook are just not meeting. Therefore, you could have a skipped, missed stitch where it doesn't pick up the thread. Most of the time, it takes quite a bit to get the machines knocked out of timing. So more, it's probably the machine is not sewing correctly or jamming. Then we're going to look at the take-up lever. There is a silver, normally a silver lever, that comes up and down in a motion inside the machine. Here in the threading path, we come down one, down under the tension mechanism, and then up around that take-up lever. After the loop is formed, that lever is what pulls the loop up. So if you've got a bunch of loops underneath the bottom side, we want to really check and make sure that that thread has been all the way seated in there. Maybe give it a little tug or a floss to make sure. That would be one. The other is our needle. Needles today on most machines have a flat side, and normally the flat side goes to the back. If that needle was in sideways possibly, which we can do, or all the way backwards, that would cause the machine to not pick up the thread, break the thread, or cause issues as you're sewing. So really, normally, check your take-up lever and make sure you've got a new needle with that flat side to the back, and that should take care of most of the problems.
So, on the topic of sewing machine needles, you have something very cool
Yes.
to show everyone.
Not every day do you have a needle this big, but it really gives you a good idea of what that needle looks like way up close. So first off, you've got the scarf of the needle, which is where the thread rides as it comes down to the eye of the needle. On the back side, you'll see an indented area, and that's actually where the hook comes through and forms the stitch. So at a real up close view, this would be facing you, this would be facing away from you, and then there's a flat side on the needle that would be facing to the back. And this is really one of the most important things, is the needle having the right tool for the job. Would you like to hold?
Yes, I would. All right, so when we put our needle in, I do notice that this particular needle does not have a flat back like a home sewing machine needle would. This is, as you mentioned before, an example of an industrial
Correct.
needle.
Correct. A lot of the times we also see problems on the bottom area, and we go to the bobbin, that's the problem, when in reality it could be the top side of the machine that needs to pull that loop up. So we're looking down in the bobbin area for a bottom under the material issue, but really it's related to the top side of the machine.
That's when you get the bird's nest.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I know about the bird's nest. Yeah, that's also, a telltale sign. The general rule is that if you have an issue underneath the fabric, you need to look to the top of the machine. If you have an issue with the stitches on top of the fabric, generally you need to look underneath into the bobbin to see what's going on. Now we're gonna go to our question that was asked from YouTube. And it says, please ask, why does the needle hit the plate of the sewing machine, and how can that be fixed?
Okay, so does the needle hit the first time we go to use the machine, the very first time the needle goes down, or is it something that we notice over time as we're using the machine, then it starts to hit? Go into needles here. There are several different types of needles for different types of materials. So here's a top stitch needle, there's a jeans needle, there's universal needles, stretch needles, but there's also a number of different sizes. A metric and a universal American number, so a 70-10, 80-12, our normal size, 90-14. The needle needs to make a hole through the material. We don't want it to deflect or bend. If we have too light of a needle, too thin of a needle for a thick material, that can cause the needle to slightly bend or deflect. Over time, by nature, the needle will start to dull and can start to bend. So that would be something over time. If everything is mechanically put together properly, my needle plate is in place, I put in a new needle, and it immediately comes down and starts to hit the plate, we might need to see a technician at that point. Otherwise, over time, it can just be general wear and tear. Let's try a new needle and see if that corrects the problem.
Awesome. Now, could timing ever have an issue, the timing of the machine have an issue with the needle hitting what seems to be the plate?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily, no. As needles break, which they do over time, they will eventually start to hit and make marks on the plate. Also, note today, some newer machines actually have a slot on the back side of the needle plate where the thread is designed to be pulled out. So sometimes we have people say that my needle has hit my plate and I've got a gouge on the back side, and actually that's how the machine was made. So as you pull the tail out the back, there's a little groove for it to go into. So you may not have caused that. If it's nice and polished and smooth, that could be the way it came directly from the manufacturer. But a sharp, jagged edge is an easy way of seeing that the needle has hit that plate.
All right, so here is our very last question of the day. What are some things that I can do at home, that I should be doing at home to maintain my machine?
So the easiest place to start cleaning is going to be in your bobbin area. This can greatly vary on makes and models. Here we're going to have 2 screws that we're going to be removing to take the plate off to be able to get down inside.
Okay.
Having ideally a short stubby screwdriver, sometimes a long angled one, it's whatever works for you.
Okay.
If you've got a little magnet, having a magnet handy will help keep your screws from rolling around on the table.
And I actually, I have a magnet pin cushion. Something like that could help to get the screws out.
It could possibly, yeah.
Okay.
So here we've got our plate off, and we can start to see some dust inside the machine.
Goodness. I had no idea. And this is something that I should be doing at home. I should be taking this off.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
And I'd actually, we're going to go a little step further, and we've got our bobbin that was in the machine. Most machines today have a drop-in bobbin, which we would have a casing, a bobbin casing that we can wiggle and jiggle and get that bobbin case out. So now we can really get in and start to see where all the lint can be.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm just, okay, let's get to work.
Okay.
We got some things to do here.
So
I'm ready.
Number 1 recommendation, I don't recommend canned air. And the reason being, canned air will give us a clean working area, but also a sewing machine has lots of small moving components. And canned air can actually push that lint down inside the machine. And there's little gears and everything, and that lint can actually get down inside those gears. So we want to brush, pick, vacuum, try and get that out as much as possible. I really don't recommend canned air on most machines.
Okay, now I've been using canned air on my serger. Is there a difference between using it on a serger and on a sewing machine that's like really enclosed like this?
There can be. Normally on sergers there's a metal plate where debris can't get back. If anything, I would try blowing sideways, but not blowing
Straight
in,
on.
because that will just push lint back inside the machine.
Okay.
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 So we can get our lint brush, a Q-tip, and we can just start going through and brushing areas all throughout the hook, which is underneath the bobbin area. We can look for lint. In the feed dog area, we can look for lint. There shouldn't be a buildup of, looks like a felt piece on there. And then also you can rotate the hand wheel to move the hook to get to different positions, so you can start to see in the different areas all throughout. So this whole area is where we want to start cleaning.
Okay. All right, guys. Here we go.
Sometimes it's like a dryer lint screen too, where you can actually take a lint ball and how it like attracts itself to it.
Oh.
So rather than trying to pick, you can actually use that ball.
What? Okay, I have to try that. He said to rotate to get to different areas.
Yeah, so for instance, like here, you've got a hole in the front of the hook. So as I move this around, I can see over here, I can see over here, over here. So now we can get in over here and get into that.
There. right. This is like the way you prepare for cleaning day at home. You gotta prepare for sewing machine cleaning day. Put your scarf around your head, get your overalls on or something. I know that there are some, after they figure this out, this is gonna be a thing. It's like, don't bother me, my phone's going on silent, we're cleaning the sewing machine today. Okay. Alrighty. So I have that done.
Okay. And another important part is going to be putting it all back together again.
Mm-hmm.
The bobbin case that drops in normally has a finger, a round finger here,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to rest against a metal position finger. So as I'm inserting it, you may have to wiggle and jiggle, but once it's in, that finger should be resting up against that bracket.
Okay. So, oh, there it is. I had to dip it under on this side a little bit. But I feel like this should have dropped in there.
It's not quite where it
No.
needs to be. So a test would be if I turned my hand wheel, it should kind of rotate smoothly. And,
Nope, it's moving.
oh, it was right there. Now it's setting on that ridge.
Mm-hmm.
So if I rotate the hand wheel, maybe I should take my needle out, but we'll be okay now. Everything rotates over nice and smoothly. There's a little
Okay.
bit of wiggle, but that's where it needs to be.
Okay, so you just work it in a little bit. Slowly, carefully turn this to see if you've got it all in just right. Alrighty.
Then next, we'll put a plate on. This particular one has to go in. There we go.
Okay, we'll put this one in here, that one in there, and tighten it up.
That's basically it.
Whoa, and that's that's quite a lot of lint in there that we took out. And lint can also affect how your sewing machine.
Yes, the bobbin case floats inside that hook mechanism, so a buildup could make the bobbin case chatter around. Also, the lint will attach itself to areas that have oil and grease and can actually start to dry up those lubricants that are helping the machine work well.
And I don't know if we mentioned this before yet, but with the oiling of the machine, this routine maintenance that we did here did not include any oiling, and the reason for that is every machine is different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's too many variables. This particular machine, probably nowhere in the manual does it tell you to oil anywhere. So normally at this point, that would be most of what we would need to do.
Right. All right, guys, that is it. Whoa, this is a really good time.
Good.
Thank you so much for joining me in this video, allowing me to join you here at Meissner. Guys, you can find Meissner. Where can they find you?
Easiest way is to visit our website, meissnersewing.com. That's meissnersewing.com. From there, you can follow us on YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, all of our latest class dates, or come to one of our 5 locations here in Sacramento, Folsom, Roseville, Santa Rosa, or San Jose.
Guys, go ahead and go to their YouTube channel. I will put a link to it right here. Check them out. There's so much great information there. Also, if you like what you saw today and you learned a lot, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.